Stay tuned to learn how plaintiff lawyers hold corporations accountable for selling unsafe products.
Welcome to the YouTube channel of Michael J. Swanson. Michael is the author of How David Beats Goliath and is the CEO of Advocate Capital. And now, here's Michael.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Today, we're going to talk about how plaintiff lawyers make the world a better and safer and more just place. You probably understand that plaintiff lawyers get results for individual plaintiffs, but to talk about the broader societal impact, I've invited Joe Schwab to join us today from Eastern Washington State. Joe, thanks for being here.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah, as I said, most people understand that somebody needs some help, they hire a lawyer, they get some help financially and what have you. But can you tell us a little bit about how lawyers like you have a more broad impact on society and on safety and justice?
Well, in probably the last 10 to 15 years, our firm has, evolved. We've been doing a lot of products liability litigation, highway litigation.
Mm-hmm.
And if we just stay with the theme of the products liability litigation, it's been really satisfying, where we've gone in and a product has some defect in it, or there was a engineering failure to really properly consider the human being and their relationship with that product. And we get into very long depositions, unfortunately, depositions that go on for 2 and 3 days, that take, weeks and weeks or months to prepare for. And it's a time where you're sitting there looking at the corporate designee. You send your notice out and you say, "Hi, we want someone to come and speak on behalf of the corporation or the government entity," in some instances. And we want them to answer a long series of questions that we've given a lot of thought to putting out into a document. They call it a 30B6 notice. And it forces the corporation to actually turn to the people within the organization and say, "Have we done this? Where are the documents to support this?" And the topics that we're often talking about have to do with things like looking at the human relationship to the product. You might think of it as what's called human factors engineering. They're actually engineers like that. Do we have any human factor engineers on our staff? We've had cases where companies have had, literally over 100 engineers developing a product that's going to go out into the public that you and I might very well use. Sometimes it's more industrial type products, in factory settings. But and they say, "Well, have we got a human factors engineer?" And I think sometimes the question is, what is a human factors engineer?
Yeah, I never heard of it until today.
And again, the most simple analysis is it's an engineer, probably with a degree in mechanical engineering, that went on and got a subsequent degree, supplemental degree that really analyzes how people interact with products and how to assure the safety of the product.
Okay.
And we never get any real assurance that after a case is resolved or after it goes to court, that there are going to be changes in the corporation. They don't bother sending us the notice.
Right.
We've made changes in our business practices because of the deposition and litigation that you put us through. But I have to honestly believe it takes place because it really shows the company the failure of what they could have done that was so simple in many instances to really make the product safer for the user. I mean, we just finished a case not too long ago that involved a piece of machinery that seriously had injured a number of people. There had been litigation by various law firms in regard to that particular piece of equipment. And all those cases had been unsuccessful. I, along with others, there was a multiple law firm case worked industriously to ask ourselves, what did the company actually do in evaluating the product? Did they have a
Right.
human factors person? There's something called a hazard checklist. Do they have a hazard checklist problem? Looking at the various hazards. There are engineering criteria where you can look at things such as what is the danger and how expensive is it going to be to eliminate the danger? And you'd be surprised how often it's not expensive to eliminate danger.
Mhm.
The hierarchy, they call that the hierarchy of controls in reality.
Okay.
What other type of guarding can be put on? And sometimes we've actually found that the manufacturer has failed to provide safety steps, but the end users have gone out and created safety steps because they recognize that there were problems. That takes a lot of sleuthing around and a lot of interviewing various people and companies and asking for their cooperation. But I honestly believe, where I started, that at the end of this process, the company goes back and says, we need to follow some of these basic safety analysis steps that the plaintiff's attorneys have been talking about, if for no other reason, and I don't think they're always heartless corporations, but if for no other reason, to avoid further lawsuits.
Well, yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's hey, a corporation's a system for generating profits. And if you can do something to increase profits by reducing your exposure to liability, it makes sense to do that, right?
Yeah, and sometimes I always, I'm saddened to hear from the corporation when they go, well, we're doing the same thing that everybody else is doing. You know,
Mm.
those are the industry standards set by the industry.
It's like, yeah, one of
How expensive would it be to do something else? Something that
right.
our expert is proposing. Well, it's not really. We just didn't think it was necessary. Well, maybe you could have saved people's lives, saved their bodies.
Wow. Well, Joe, thank you for the work that you've done for many years now to hold these corporations accountable and bring to their attention, hey, it's not expensive to make these changes. Why not make them? And I'm sure you've had a positive impact with all of the cases and plaintiffs that you've represented. And thank you for being here today. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Great. And we'll put a link to your website below in case someone wants to get in touch with you. If they had a question and wanted to talk with you, Joe, do you charge to talk to somebody?
Oh, no. We have 3 sections in our law firm, and all 3 of them are contingent law firms,
Great.
practices. So
Wonderful. So if someone needs help, they shouldn't hesitate to give you a call.
no,
Great. Joe, thanks again for being here. Have a great day.
thank you.
Thanks for watching. Send your questions or comments to Michael at mike@howdavidbeatsgoliath.com.